YouTube. Hello everyone, please pay close attention. On the XRP ledger, a huge event is currently taking place, but nobody is discussing it. I can assure you that in 6 months, people will act as though they anticipated this. However, you and I are seeing what's going on behind the scenes on the XRP ledger at the moment before the masses do. It's not typical. Activity at the institutional level was booming like a machine. ETFs are starting to appear, and macro catalysts are aligning as if the market were nearing its peak. This is where it all begins. XRP at the moment. For all of your Ripple and XRP news, this is your one and only source. We're going to start with this piece called XRP Networks, but we also have the small ETF tracker. I have some incredible updates coming this week. He has an unusual amount of activity and a surge. Yes, exactly. This triggered a long bell for someone, and I don't mean retail traders, so let's talk about it as we scroll down and read it. The bored whales are not what I mean. I mean, a serious player has been using account set transactions to bombard the XRP ledger, and I am referring to numerous of them. Folks, this isn't a drill. Although the level of activity is different, this is what makes it even more insane. Additionally, you can view an image of these wallets on your screen. This is not residual noise because it continues to occur even if BitGo stops doing theirs. There is no backlog here. This automated script isn't just any old script. This entity is new, possess new timing, rhythms, and activity clusters. Institutions also don't make an announcement when such incidents occur. Before the big changes are made public, they set up, prepare the backend. And the XRP ledger is literally shouting at the moment. We're moving past this because something significant is being set up. If you're new and don't know what the account set transactions truly imply, I'll explain it in a way that makes sense and that you can comprehend. Therefore, the account set transactions are not typical user actions. They're not money. They're not exchanges. They're not exchanges. Configuration modifications are known as account set transactions. Activating particular flags, adding domain metadata, updating cold and hot wallet keys, enabling multisig, and establishing advanced account controls are some examples. Everyone, this is infrastructural work, and unless they are preparing a sizable cluster of wallets, no one, absolutely no one, does this kind of stuff in volume. This is what exchanges do. This is what custodians do. This is done by institutional liquidity providers. This is done by asset managers getting ready for inflows. BitGo carried out the exact same action not too long ago, but this new spike has a completely different pattern, timing, and signatures, indicating the establishment of a new institutional player. Wilds don't prepare for nothing. They get ready for movement, flow, and caretaker demand. This is the brief test period when you announce that something will happen. And we head over to Grok to really dissect this, talk about it, talk about BitGo, and get into the specifics of what's actually happening. Now quickly, there are two things you need if you want my in-depth analyses, charts, and real-time notifications on situations like this. Sign up for the free newsletter using the links below. If you would want a customized approach, schedule a private consultation with me. I post things on YouTube that I can't completely describe here. Let's turn back to Grok now. This is also intriguing. As you can see, it discusses bit.li's recent behavior and breaks it down. Between November 7th and November 12th, there was a significant increase in account set transactions on the XRP ledger. Occurred? They entered a flawed automated loop with BitGo's initialization wallet, which is used to activate new XRP wallets, including the one connected to Evernorth. The purpose of the script was to generate and set up new accounts and bolts, but guess what? It broke down. Everything is fine. Look at this, though. For several days, notice how many wallets it activated every 8 to 12 minutes. More than 14,800 on busy days like November 11th. Crazy, huh? Here, you can see what this suggests. Claims that this was related to the infrastructure preparation and multi-signature configuration that is typical for custodians working with institutional clients. BitGo openly admitted the problem, discussed it, no money was lost, and everything was well. But this is where things become interesting, so let's speak about the latest increase. Tens of thousands of transactions that configure this institutional grade are the main trends that we have observed, correct? The primary information is followed by your wallet, multi-sig, rotating keys, and toggled payment preference flags. This isn't a store. What can we learn from all of this then? Well, it's really easy. A significant player has entered the game. An asset manager, a custodian, or an institutional enterprise structure could all be involved in the filing of a new ETF. I'm telling you now, people. Something is cooking, so pay attention to this. But would you like to talk about institutional activities in the interim? Let's discuss the massive, almost unbelievable headline. 21 shares of the XRP ETF will go live at the same time you watch this video. Not a synthetic exposure, not a futures ETF, and not an actual spot product. Authorized file which will go live on Monday. This is the kind of event that makes the conventional financial community realize that XRP is more than simply a coin for retail speculation. And since ETFs aren't purchased like retail, this is really important for anyone who knows liquidity dynamics. They don't experience FOMO. They're not bringing $100 with them. They are bringing millions of dollars with them. On average, we see $45 million per day. We're going to add another ETF to the present ones that are active. Even if they make $5 million, that would be up to $50 million a day, draining that supply from the back end. When that occurs, your market supply becomes more constrained, your over-the-counter books shrink, and custodial demand rises. For XRP, this marks the start of a new chapter. 21 shares will then discuss the rationale for the creation of this XRP ETF. They didn't do it because they wanted to. It is because they requested it from their large clientele. We are discussing your private banks, asset managers, pension funds, and the family offices they are connected to. They all desired XRP's visibility to increase exposure for investors, and eventually I believe that might also be transferred to the United States. 21 shares packages ETFs and develops ETFs for Ethereum and Bitcoin, as I had indicated when I presented you earlier in the conversation and interview. And I mentioned that one of the reasons people would consider these products is that, depending on the location in which they operate, they are unable to purchase Bitcoin and Ethereum, and possibly due to investor restrictions. Is that among the causes? In other words, in general, why should someone investigate an ETH Bitcoin ETF product? I'll let you decide who that person could be. As opposed to a direct exposure? Indeed. That has a lot of advantages. We typically talk to family offices about our clients, independent asset managers, private banks, and increasingly pension funds. The technical obstacle is not something they want to deal with. They have no desire to create a wallet. In the back end, they don't really want to bother about custody. Additionally, they do not wish to maintain their assets in a different account. For this reason, an ETF is just a very practical way to gain exposure. And because it's a plug-and-play solution for the end users, banks all over the world, but especially in Europe, love working with us. The good news is that, like any other product or ETF available, customers don't have to worry about anything else. They just purchase it to gain visibility, that's all. We believe it's just a choice, but it doesn't mean one is superior to the other. We've already witnessed a significant number of investors entering the cryptocurrency space over the past 5 to 7 years. Therefore, Europe may have had an advantage or a head start in terms of the educational component, or just the investor's understanding, but it is evident that the US is coming up. Naturally, the US is a